Hello, YouTube. As you may or may not have heard, recently, quite a few law enforcement agencies have been banning their officers from carrying the SIG 320. I've heard about Denver. I'm not going to mention all, 'cause I don't know how public it is, but you may have heard about Denver. You may have heard about Chicago PD. Well, something came across my desk yesterday that you might find interesting, and it's an affidavit from a police officer in Chicago. I think their range master, explaining why they banned the 320. So I got a hold of that, posted it to Instagram. We're gonna go through it now, as well as go through your comments. I think it's interesting read. Um, and I'll try to skip to the good stuff. You could read the full thing on my Instagram page if you want to, and go ahead and get into the comments if you want to. Uh, we haven't been shitting on SIG for a while, and just kind of sitting back, seeing how things play out, and they're playing out about like I would expect. All right, let's get into it. From the sergeant of police, the all right. I currently hold the title of Range Master for Chicago Police Department. The duties of a range master are to supervise the training of officers and the department's use of firearms, range, and the department's armory. He goes through a pretty long section there explaining his job, just to open up the affidavit. Okay, on February 12th, 2025. Okay, this year in my prior role as instructor development and curriculum design, I learned that a field training officer had an unintentional discharge of a SIG Sauer P320 and no one was injured. The FTO had 8 years of qualification history with no safety infractions. The incident prompted the FTO to go and purchase a Glock to replace his SIG Sauer P320. The circumstances around the Chicago Police Department February 12, 2025 discharge contained details similar to the information I had begun to hear of. Someone's been on the internet, I think. He's begun to hear of it in mid-January 2025, revolving around uncommanded discharges of the SIG Sauer P320 based on informal research I began conducting. On January 24th, 2025, I learned discharges occurred while firearm was holstered. Even though the Chicago Police Department incident, the gun was unholstered, I began to monitor and investigate the situation. Okay, I'm going to skip through the history that they authorized the 320 in 2018. Okay, and let's go over it. Over the next month, beginning February 21, 2025, I switched from informal research to formal research and data gathering. Guys, just to interject here, this is kind of the story I've heard from a few police agencies at this point, like right from the horse's mouth, where guys have to go through and systematically collect data and then hand it up to their superiors or hand to the chief, whoever, that's gonna like make a decision on getting rid of the guns. Um, this is kind of what I've seen when the range nerds or the shooting nerd guys in the department, they're like, okay, this looks like there's a problem. They start formally putting a package of information together to present to people. All right, here we go. The information I learned within the Chicago Police Department. As recent as 3/17/2025, members of the FTS reported possible issues with the P320 handguns they saw. I also contacted Chicago Police Department Incident Response Team. They had no data collected. I learned information from incidents outside the Chicago Police Department. Here's a good one. February 27th, 2025, I interviewed Milwaukee Police Department's former range master. He provided me with reports and body-worn camera footage. I viewed the footage, and it showed two events of P320s discharging in holsters and injuring officers. I was also provided with the police station video showing an officer exiting an unmarked vehicle and his P320 discharged. I don't know if this is stuff that we've seen on the internet or not, by the way. February 19th, 2025, I telephonically interviewed Assistant Director Dave Miller, Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission. And guys, if you followed on Instagram, I've posted a couple of news stories from Washington regarding this commission because they did ban 320s. He informed me uh, that they prohibited the use of the SIG Sauer P320 at their police academy because of uncommanded discharge with a recruit that was observed by a firearms instructor. Dave Miller sent me their investigation report and stakeholder notice concerning the P320. And he goes on, I conducted an open source investigation, and he goes through stuff that you've heard about on the internet. At least 80 injuries linked to accidental discharges, according to a joint 2023 investigation conducted by the Trace. All right. 33 officers injured, spanning 18 federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. Again, none of this is really shocking. I mean, not if you've been paying attention, but it's interesting and good to see it in writing. Let's skip ahead to some more good stuff here. All right, here we go. On February 25th, 2025, SIG Sauer conducted a Teams meeting with myself and other members of the department. I've heard about these type of meetings, by the way. I've heard it's kind of weird. I didn't hear from this guy specifically, but from the horse's mouth at other agencies who've been in these meetings, I've heard it's pretty weird. Like they'll just keep repeating, like, oh, it's the most tested handgun and shit like that. They contended that the recent discharges stemmed from user error, obstructions in the officers' holsters, and weapon lights. Now we've heard that whole story. We've heard that whole story from SIG before. Now it's not in this affidavit. I don't know if it happened in this case, but a lot of times this is about the point when agencies start getting wishy-washy. I've heard about offers being made like, oh, we're gonna fly you to New Hampshire and show you all the stuff or whatever. Maybe give you a little bit of the SIG armor treatment. Maybe that's what that's all about. So whatever they did that changed his opinion so dramatically. Maybe that's what they're gonna do with those officers to keep them on the SIG. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Participated in the phase-out follow-up meetings in person and virtually on the following dates, April 9th, 10th, 14th. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I assisted in planning implementation of 12 gun days held either at the training academy, so far both on and off duty, officers 210, like listed all this stuff. All right. So he signed it under penalty of perjury, all of that stuff. Nothing really shocking in there, but there's a little detail I can also add, and it's not in this affidavit. I don't know if it happened in this case, but I've been hearing from multiple agencies, multiple states that once they ban the 320, it's not like a legal threat, but it's like, it seems threatening. I'll put it that way. Like a letter from SIG saying this is harmful. I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it's harmful, and this is in violation of applicable state law that you're preventing people from using this handgun. Seriously, I mean, I heard this again from a few different agencies. And then a little bit ago, one agency was nice enough to actually show me the letter. Like I can't post it, I can't share it because that would kind of burn people's jobs. Guys don't like getting in trouble at work apparently, but they showed it to me, let me read it, and I was just kind of like, holy shit. Like I've heard about this letter. This is actually real. Like they're actually threatening you. Like, well, it seems threatening anyway, because it's from their legal team and it says, oh, this is harmful to our reputation. It's in violation of the law. Like, so you read that, and you're like, what the fuck is this? I mean, I think it's a really bad move to send cops those letters because, they get sued all the time. So they're not going to be too worried about some kind of bullshit thing from SIG like that. But it's funny. It's definitely funny. And it definitely makes SIG look pretty weak. All right, let's go through your comments on the Instagram page, see what you guys had to say. Denver PD is another department that banned the 320. That was back in April. Yeah, I heard about that as well. Love my 226, won't catch me dead with a 320. Okay. Chicago PD doesn't really need any more shootings under their belt, literally or figuratively. It's a big facts right there, man. LOL, LMAO even. Yeah, pretty funny. Also, Chicago won't pay to replace the service pistols of Chicago police officers. Also, the handful of cop guys I talked to don't believe the 320 go off by themselves. And also, those guys don't shoot more than once every 2 months. Yeah, there's quite a few people that don't believe this is real, and that's fine. SIG contracts, it ends today. That's a good one. That's a pretty good one. Imagine SIG just introduced a bunch of new gun models and shit copy of a staccato when what they needed to do is fix the 320 before anything else. Yeah, they got some new stuff that they put up. People are asking me if I'm going to review it. Like, no, I'm not buying any more shit from SIG. I think SIG is run by assholes, and I don't want to buy their stuff. It makes me feel dirty. It makes me feel bad. I don't want it. I don't want it. All right. Looks like it ended today in Chicago PD. Sure did. Here for my obligatory, not all SIGs, but always a SIG comment. Jesus, guys. Uh, Never forget that Glock should have won the NGSW contract for the new service pistol. Never forget what they took. Yeah, I mean, I think the SIGs are not as good. All right, P320 banned at the same meeting that removed the Serper holster from available duty use. There's a joke in there somewhere. I'm sure of it. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. um, I look forward to your SIG P211 thoughts and review. Yeah, I saw they got Max Michel promoting that. I've called this. I mean, he looks so low energy promoting that shit. I said he looks like a cancer patient. More, he looks like Deadpool, like without the costume. The dude just looks dead inside. No, I'm not gonna like fuck that gun. Fuck Sig, honestly. Um, Very sad for him. There's a reason SIG has had a 3-day unveiling of new products that could have taken 10 minutes. They're trying to suppress the fact that the P320 continues to be a polished turd. I have started to realize that SIG is ran by professional assholes. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. They get by on government contracts, a handful of quality products, 1,000+ variants of the P365. Keep it up, Ben. No, I'm gonna keep it up. I'm gonna keep it up. You really hate SIGs, LOL. No, I mean, I think the people that run the company legitimately are bad. They're bad people. Like, and you just see stuff like this, like, no, like I don't want to support these people. And then, I mean, if you work there long enough, I think you turn into Max Michel. I think you die on the inside. All right, yeah. So good comments there. P320's trash is one. The guy coming in with a late hit. All right. So that's the story. That's the news. I'm going to keep watching the SIG situation. It's fun to watch at this point as this stuff just continues to come out. Procher Band, heard from him yesterday. He's the YouTuber who's doing the Lord's work on this one. He's waiting on a couple FOIAs to come back, and we'll see what he posts in the future. And we'll find out. Should be good. If you got comments, put them down below. It'll be fun to go through those.